The following program is sponsored in part by To a Woman's Heart. The thoughts and views expressed by the following production don't necessarily reflect those of the network or any sponsors. Rainbow Room Publishing Live, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. RP Live introduces Ken Compton, author, visual storyteller, and producer with curious story content. A world of captivating fiction filled with entertainment, insight, excitement, suspense, and a wide range of emotions. Explore the realms of horror, mystery, humor, and suspense with stories that will satisfy your curiosity and keep you coming back for more at Curious Story Content on YouTube. Watch the upcoming interview on RRP Live, a division of Rainbow Room Publishing. Rainbow Room Publishing, we don't just sell you a book, we give you an experience.
Greetings, family. It's your boy EP, and I'm back with the second segment for the summer reading list of 2025. Hope you all have been enjoying it so far, and are looking forward to what we have coming up. I can especially say that you're going to love this episode. I am introducing a man I look up to literally and metaphorically for numerous reasons. My fraternal big brother in blue and white Phi Beta Sigma glory, and my literary brother. We are ecstatic here at RRP Live to introduce to some and present to others. I'm calling the future New York Times and Amazon bestselling author, producer, and visual storyteller, Mr. Ken Compton himself. Brother Ken, welcome.
Thank you, Eddie. Good to see you. May I say, love your attire. I would have worn a Sigma shirt myself, but I chose to go with a Marvel theme. I don't know if anybody can see it or not, but yeah.
Make mine Marvel. Marvel is always a win. And to be honest, it was very spiritual the way this whole thing went down. I was doing some laundry. I saw a light blue shirt. I was like, ooh, but it's dirty. And then God said, oh, go for this. And I was like, well, it's a little small. He was like, well, you were going to cut the sleeves off anyway. So here we go. So it was a whole process. But thank you, man. Got to represent always, right?
Right.
I'm very quick with these interviews to forget that this is not a personal Zoom call. So I'm going to get the interviewer hat on. But for those who have yet to indulge in your brilliant literary work and the mastermind behind it all, tell us a little bit about yourself. What in your background contributes to your love of story as well as the love of storytelling? What makes you the literary talent you are today?
Well, it's always the love of writing as far as me wanting to do it for my life. It all goes back to my last semester in undergrad. One of my last assignments was to write a chapter extension of a book that we read in philosophy and literature. It was called Bailey's Cafe by Walter Taylor. And I wrote an extension to that novel, and I thought it was the best thing that I had done. In hindsight, this was some years ago, so the writing wasn't as good as it could be. But back then, I thought it was the greatest thing that I had ever done, almost academically. So, a lot of that. And I got an A on that project. So with that being said, I thought, well, maybe if I put a little work into this, that's when the idea first sparked that maybe I could be a novelist myself. So.
That is beyond dope. I tell people, and I know I've said it in recent interviews, that one of the reasons too that I love doing these is that I always learn something new, even if it's somebody I've known for 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. I vaguely remember something about the writing book in your senior year, but I didn't know all of that detail. And that's amazing. And I think honestly too, it stands as a good testimony for some of any of us that, we talked about this, despise not the day of small beginnings, it's Bible verse, we always got to start somewhere, and don't discount those beginning efforts. And I mean, obviously you're showing us that now. Look where you are today. I would just add to that before I forget, is there any chance of you going back and digging that out and doing something with it?
It's a slight possibility. I actually still have it. I saved it. So all these years later, I still have that same project. And it's got the A and a little note that I had from the professor. So something I can still look at, still be proud of. And maybe one day when I write the story of my life and this same question is posed, I'll have a little snippet of that included with that. So
That's dope. And that's another lesson, folks. That's one of the reasons y'all here. Save everything, especially in this day and age where we can digitize things. Because we are talking about some things that may have been typed out and printed out or whatever, and then digitized or whatever. But it's all the more reason we have no excuse. Just save everything. I know from personal experience, you may think it's complete and utter trash one day, and the very next day, oh, this is good. That's how we get to my second book. But that's about me. More than enough of that at another time. For the benefit of our followers and aspiring storytellers, can you tell us about any parallels or influences that your lived experience has had on your art? Like, has it found its way into any of the stories or even the way that you promote or present them?
I have to say, for people who are familiar with my writing, Graffiti Park is one of the most well-known stories that I have. It was the first story in the first book of the anthology series from a Black perspective. And the idea behind it deals with past trauma. You'll see that in the short story, and you'll also see that in the book series, especially the first book, dealing with past traumas, trying to get over things that have happened to you, trying to figure out, piecing it together, trying to figure out why. Now, I haven't been through the things that my characters have been through, but I think some of us all have things in our past. We still look back and we say, like, wow, that was that. We're proud of ourselves for making it through, but sometimes there's still some things you're still struggling with, a little PTSD. And that is going to be a big thing in the first book, the Graffiti Park series. So you'll see that. And like I said, it's something that I can relate to. I've dealt with it, a little PTSD from things that have happened. And so I use that as, a tool in my writing, a recurrent thing.
Excellent. It's no stranger to anybody, and he mentioned it. I didn't pay him to do it, but you mentioned the anthology series, and in some of our different conversations, I do recall you, and it's very evident when I look back at the writing, just even talking about, not even necessarily that extreme of PTSD, but just the need for closure. Exactly. And that being a very universal experience. And, the writer teacher in me is like A+, for giving us a common experience in that. So I just want to make sure we put that out there so that, because some of us, honestly, I've known a few people that were, and I think it's analogous to a lot of our different elements, physical, mental, that sometimes we have all the symptoms, but we don't know what it is, or we're in denial. And I've known some vets who didn't know that they were dealing with PTSD until it was like really, really defined for them. And so even that idea of, maybe someone can't relate to that aspect of it, but we can all certainly relate to some sense of a desire for closure, or even just even having a concept of what closure might be, however subjective it is for each of us. So, thank you for that. Next question, what stories and storytellers have inspired you the most?
Well, as a kid, I was an avid reader. I don't know if anyone's familiar with R.L. Stine and his Fear Street series. Christopher Pike was a big influence on me. I read several of his books, as well as Lois Duncan. But here lately, as an adult, I consider Walter Mosley my own professor as far as things to do when you're writing, or he often says you have to write to discover. And that is certainly something that I have explored, right? To discover. You mentioned closure. So yeah, that is something that I strive to do with the characters in my books. Sandra Brown is another writer that I absolutely love, as well as Neil Gaiman. The way that Neil Gaiman writes his stories, not really fancy, but it's just enough. It's simplistic, so simplistic that you're like, wow, okay. The way he puts things together, I just absolutely love it. And Sandra Brown always has that wow factor. Anytime I could read a story and you got me yelling out loud with something that was right in front of me that I didn't realize, oh yeah, you got me. You are one of my authors. So I would say those three. And there are some other ones that I can mention, but those are the main ones.
Awesome list. And just know that somebody, myself included, is adding you to that list, and we'll definitely be doing so in the future. Moving to the next question. So you spoke to this. The impact and the popularity of your work, Graffiti Park in particular, is honestly it's spreading like wildfire. The background that's glitching a little bit, y'all. I'm sorry. I was in Phoenix and saw a friend, mutual associate from our Truman State days, and I was giving her a copy of the book. And she just went up at the sight of Ken in it. But, in the conversation, I got to telling her a little bit about the story. And she was like, oh, okay. Yeah, she was ready to go home and read it. But, what would you most hope that the readers and the viewers take away from your written works as well as their numerous adaptations?
Just the whole, speaking of the whole idea of closure and the fact that your past does not have to define your future. That's one big thing for me in some of my writing. I do a lot of spiritual things, a lot of family oriented type stories, but, still figuring it all out for myself. But just those types of things come up, just like the finding closure, dealing with stuff from the past and how you compartmentalize and deal with it, moving on, how you still have to live your life, but still deal with some of those other things and how different characters do it, so that's something always to look forward to in the writing, something to make the stories a little bit different.
But I mean, that's awesome. Anybody that, gets my top three is always up there. The educational piece, the inspirational piece, the entertaining piece. And much of what you're doing, you are laying out, especially knowing you personally and knowing the different ways that you work through your process and, the writing sketches, doing boot camps and things like that. I see it all very clearly laid out. And it reminds me oftentimes of how, I know you can relate to this, and if we think hard enough, most of us can, whenever we were in an English class or even history and some of the other humanities, we had to read literature. And sometimes it was fictional. It wasn't always factual, but it was the way that we were taught modeling for the purposes of being able to read and to write. Just even knowing the letters, knowing the words, knowing the grammar. But your work reminds me of how I've had numerous English classes where we just had all these different novels. And the idea was we're going to read this one to learn about how to do a good character. We're going to read that one to learn how to do good setting. And I see all of that. I go through your stuff, enjoying it, but with check marks, like, boom, he got the setting, boom, he nailed the characters. And I feel that a lot of people just taking it up for enjoyment and for entertainment will be inspired, much like you said. Was it Neil Graham?
Gaiman.
I'm trying to think. I feel like I just audiobooked him. I really do. I'll hit you about that later. But I'm so sure I did. But, just the idea that you said in your opinion that, not saying anything negative, that he, just wrote it very simply. The idea that, someone can read your writing, other people's writing, and see, oh, I don't have to do all this flowery, crazy stuff that Eddie sometimes does, and just turn around and take it back out, But I'm just saying that great example overall when it comes to, what you're doing in terms of your art, the way that you talk about it, the way that you present it. Brother, you on that New York Times bestsellers list track, in my opinion. Prior to your inclusion in the anthology series From a Black Perspective, where you're a veteran contributor in all three books, y'all. So come on, that's like having all three championship rings. You did earn other publishing credits, and I believe you've earned some since. Can you tell us a little bit about those and how those accomplishments contribute to your career practically and probably more importantly, emotionally? How did they bolster you up to keep going?
Long before Graffiti Park was published in print, thanks to Rainbow Room Publishing, it was an early draft was actually published online. The work or the website was called Necrology Shorts. They actually published it, and I did send it to an actual magazine to have it print put in their publication as well. But what ended up happening, it did get rejected. But what inspired me is that the work was good enough to get feedback. A lot of times you don't get that when you submit.
Yeah.
You send it off, and
you lucky to hear anything. Exactly. You lucky to hear no.
And this particular editor, she said that she would love to feature my piece, but these were the things that she needed to be a little bit different. And she gave me a lot of different ideas, and I did incorporate those ideas in what became the finished piece. I did not resubmit to her, and I can't remember quite why. I just took what she told me, and I just internalized it. I was encouraged by the fact that she did take the time to give me that feedback. So I just, But the big publishing credit that I had prior to Rainbow Room Publishing and the anthology series was the Necrology Shorts website where the earlier draft had been published, and it wasn't nowhere near the way it looks now. So even an earlier draft that story was good enough to get in then, and so that's what gives me the encouragement to continue with the whole novel series.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, I'm loving this. I'm loving this conversation for a number of reasons, but I'm really just honestly stuck on the other writers that may already be working, the ones that are still thinking about it. And, you're painting a very real picture without it being oh so bleak. I know we both talked to people and heard from people about, I could wallpaper my apartment with all of the rejection letters or I have this manuscript that's somewhere in my mama's basement somewhere that I've never done anything with. You're giving everybody, in my opinion, just through the gift of your ability to tell a story, the very practical steps and how, in my opinion, to approach each one of those stages, the idea of the rejections and, can you even learn something, in any shape or form? Even if you don't hear back from the person, is there something you can learn from that experience? And I see how you built on all of it. Go ahead, though. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say there's all kind of examples out there, just to give people more encouragement. Even some of the most well-known writers, believe it or not, somebody rejected the Harry Potter book, and you see what that became.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yes. Stephen King was rejected,
Yes, he was. You're right.
I mean, it goes on and on. It's all subjective. You go through all these no's just to get to that one yes, and then everything tends to fall into place for you. So it's all subjective, and I didn't intend to talk about this, but one thing, too, that really gives me encouragement. A few years ago, I saw a play in New York. It was called A Strange Loop. And, you always worry about trying to make your story sellable, but first make it something for yourself.
Yes.
And I was watching this play, and I'm like, okay, they using all this different type of language in it. I mean, they didn't hold back when it came to using curse words and everything like that. And you say to yourself, well, are they going to like it if I use these words and do this and do that? But they just did their thing. And you see what that play became. It won all these awards. And, so, hey, just I tell people to just write like yourself and make it something good for you. I was going to talk about that a little bit later, but it was on my mind.
You're good. And if it comes back up, it comes back up. Hey, we got time. I'm running this show. But I love, too, that you remind me, too, of a saying that's becoming more and more popular. I think there's some argument about whether it was Winston Churchill who said it or not, but the idea that success is moving from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm.
There you go.
You
The log cabin with a wall of windows overlooking the Smokies was impressive. The owner had warned that something was going on with the well. Expectations took a turn, however, when the faucet was turned on. Sunset came. It was human footsteps and then a knock. Evening. Sorry if I woke you. I'm the waterman. Heard your water wasn't acceptable and needed looking at. So all's good now. The gapped smile he left me with as he turned and walked down the driveway seemed more of a smirk. It was the cabin owner. Listen to me. The waterman you saw is not real. A utility worker perished in a horrible well accident on our property during the construction. It was never reported, and as a contract worker, it was assumed that he had just left and disappeared.
I love too that you remind me too of a saying that's becoming more and more popular. I think there's some argument about whether it was Winston Churchill who said it or not, but the idea that success is moving from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm.
There you go.
You just keep going until it works. That's just it. That's just all. And being open to the idea that the outcomes may not be what you envision. Oftentimes they're better, honestly, in my case. But the beautiful part about this is the networking piece and, just that community support. Something I have to admit I don't have as often when I'm not working with you all on an anthology project. But, most people know that I love networking. They know I love to put people together. I honestly like to say, oh, I see Ken is working on something. He needs piece A. Somebody else is working on something. They need piece B. I'll just put them together, stand back and watch the magic. And it's magical to me every time. We previously mentioned your membership with Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And I wanted to know, what other socially oriented, service oriented, creative, professional organizations are you a part of, and how have they contributed to your ongoing endeavors and your ongoing success?
Well, although I'm not as active as I would like to be these days with the St. Louis Writers Guild, I am honored to say that I have worked with a few of those authors, with their works and doing different things. And so other than Sigma, I would say the St. Louis Writers Guild, although I'm not very active right now, but working with them and being in the space of writers is certainly something that does indeed help me. So
yeah, and I give it to you. To your credit, which I haven't even done joined, so I have so many thumbnails of memberships and things to look into. But the idea is that you have an outlet. It's kind of the way that we used to talk about, having your Medicare or your medical care situated. In the event that that you have a need, you know where to go. And in this case, you know where to go. You won't be still doing the research and trying to figure out if, okay, this group is even worth my time. When you have that time in that season to plug in, you can plug in. And I can only imagine, we hear, and I'm pretty sure you've heard it, maybe said it, that writing can be the loneliest profession in the world in a lot of instances, because we do a lot of it solo. So the idea of being able to connect with somebody else with that same experience is great. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's basically it. Just working with the Writers Guild. I don't, like I said, have the time to attend a lot of their events, but I am in communication with several of those authors, and I have future plans of working with more of them too. So
awesome. See, people, it's important. That's one of the things, honestly, it was not something that I consciously planned out with these conversations, but they keep coming up. That the theme keeps coming up of that corporate effort, that communal experience, and the way, that cooperative spirit, and how we get, so much further. For some people, just as an example, some people may think, oh, it's this awesome thing that Eddie gave Ken a platform to talk about his writing. I need content for my show, and not only content, I need great content, so this is, the ebb and the flow, and just even a reminder that sometimes the person you need to do what you're trying to do is like right there. If you're a Sigma, about being locked up, but they're right there, so great examples. So thing that I've been excited to talk about, curious story content. So man, okay, let me set the stage real quick. So we finished the anthology, and I'm on a break, thankfully a much shorter one than I have in the past. And I look up one day, and Mr. Compton has been busy. He has been
I have been kind of busy.
My goodness. So I'm gonna let you get into it. As previously stated, many of our viewers have come to know and love you for your various contributions to Rainbow Room Publishing. But since that time, you've been, like I said, very busy with your YouTube channel, Curious Story Content. Can you please tell us more about it? What inspired the idea to adapt some of your written works into this visual storytelling experience? This is dope, y'all. It's dope. Y'all gonna see some clips through the commercials. It's dope.
Well, what inspired it, I was getting to a point in my own writing where I wasn't doing it like I really wanted to. And I needed another outlet. So I just thought about, you see all these things, these people do things on YouTube. And I asked myself, well, if I could come up with like a niche, what will it be to put out there in the world? But the thing that I do is write. So what can also spark the enthusiasm and continue with me carrying the torch for myself, my own writing, why not take my own stories and adapt them into YouTube videos? So I did each story from the anthology series is included in the adaptations or in the as a story on the platform. Speaking of the St. Louis Writers Guild, I've worked with many of those authors too to bring their stories to adaptation. So it's just something that I can plan to continue with. Still a work in progress, still very new at it. There's still a lot that I'm learning. But, the feedback that I'm getting has pretty much been positive. And although, I don't have 1 million followers yet, but something that I'm still working on. So, I'm still in the very beginning stages. But, I have over 20 videos out there.
I think I saw like 27 or 30. And for the person that's coming in fresh and cold, man, just grab your snacks and just sit up. Because I think I watched like the first night, I watched like 5. And I found it in the middle of the night. It's probably not the best content for most people at the middle of the night. I ain't scary like that. But
if somebody wants to plug in at nighttime, there are many stories. So I listen to stories at nighttime to help me sleep. So I would not say
same here.
Hey, they pulled up Graffiti Park and listened to it and fell asleep to it. Hey, as long as the play keeps playing, then go ahead. It's fine.
And look, I was going to even say, and I understand, the grand scheme of things, because, look at our humble channel and, you see the millions and whatever followers and what have you. And you see the evidence of the YouTube checks because they're being spent in the videos. But, just for context, if you don't mind, and if not, I'll edit it out. How long ago did you start the channel?
I started in December.
You started it in December. Folks, you started it in December. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now, I got to be honest. I did have another page that was totally wrong that I don't really even speak about. And it has nothing to do with writing. I was going to get into the YouTube universe, and I was going to talk about all these celebrities. I had a LeBron James video. I had a Seth Curry one, I think. But that just fell by the wayside because that was not my passion. So my passion is storytelling. So I decided to just stick with what I knew. And once I got that going, I got a video editor, a voiceover actress. They've been doing their thing. Although here lately, thinking about just recording my own voice, which is not something that I like. I don't like my voice, but other people say they like it.
I understand.
Go ahead. If my voice is bring you to a YouTube video with the anticipation of hearing what I got to say, hey, go for it. I'll use it if other people enjoy it. It's not always about me. So.
Yeah, no, I mean the evidence, because I was one of them people, I put it out there, I was one of them people that had that feedback. But the evidence there from your performances with each of the From a Black Perspective books. You are a great reader. It's your vocal quality as well as your ability to rise and fall and to present the emotion. So yeah, and then most importantly, in my opinion, not only if it's making you dollars, but if it's saving you dollars, do that. That's my idea. But what I was getting to though was perspective. You started in December and you have over 1,000 followers. Now, granted, or subscribers, excuse me. And most people don't know that that's like I think that's the threshold of subscribers you need, in addition to some other criteria before you get monetized. So I'm like, bro, look, I'm still knocking on my last 50, provided 2 of them don't drop off again. That's probably bots. But I'm just saying it's definitely something that should be celebrated. It's definitely a great example for anybody else that's getting out there. I love that you added that piece about, where it kind of started. But at the same time, it's very much like how the production for a lot of this stuff starts for me. It's just me kind of messing around. And then when it comes time to do something practical, I now have the skills. So, maybe that channel didn't work out to become a channel, but it prepared you for the awesome stuff that's going on at Curious Story Content. And I'm going to keep saying that name because that's a dope name, too. I love it. I love it. So, I see, and you kind of spoke to this, that, Curious Story Content is an awesome vehicle, obviously, for getting your work out there. And I applaud the Christian and the Sigma spirit in you that said, hey, I have a vehicle that I can help somebody else, along the way with. And I was just curious to know, what inspires you to feature other authors, and how fulfilling is it to impact their career in the way that you are?
Speaking of needing content, I was, and I just didn't want it to be about me. I wanted to open up the avenue for others who may be interested and maybe never thought about, having their stories turned into videos. And I never do a story without the permission of an author. And I happened to be, at a convention, and I met the president of the St. Louis Writers Guild, as well as a few other authors. And I just asked, hey, would you guys be interested? And they were. There's some awesome stories in there. The Waterman of Sevier County is from someone in the St. Louis Writers Guild. A story called Walls is also from a guild member. So just the need of content and the need to be more open, giving people a space to be able to, if they never thought about it, to consider it. So yeah. No, I mean it's innovative. It's exciting, especially for me being a very visual person, a very visual learner. I need to see stuff, but at the same time, my imagination, as some people know, is pretty good, probably too good at times. And so, the idea of being able to associate imagery is dope. It's the next thing to watching a film and watching television. And I feel honestly too, with the way that the average human attention span is going, and the things that we're used to with social media. And as you even mentioned, the idea of, what you kind of are used to with YouTube. I think it's not the wave of the future. I think it is now. Its time is now. Just, throwing it out there that, I had, I think on some level too, I was super excited because anytime that I see similarities between myself and somebody that's doing something great, it's just another thing that's just like, okay, God, telling me I'm on the right track. I chose to do a visual story for my contribution to the last part of the anthology. And so when I looked up and saw you had a whole channel, I was like, okay, I was on the right track. I was on the right track. I will admit, I feel that your stuff is more sophisticated in a lot of respects. But yeah, well, I mean, we're going to do that, Ken. That's what we do. We go back and forth about, no, you better. But don't sell yourself short.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, there you go. We'll go with that.
But it's like I said, it's super inspirational. Let me see. Oh yes. So actually, this is where I was going with that. So funny story. I looked up and I was like, "Oh, Ken got a YouTube channel, and he doing what I just did with these other two stories." And I did all of this stuff, emailed whatever, and shot the email off. But nowhere in there did I look and see or think to ask, especially since I had the man's ear, what is the submission process? And so this is an opportunity for to talk to us a little bit about what it is you're looking for in terms of content, as well as give us some of the nuts and bolts of the submission process for anybody that may be trying to get on board.
Well, right now I am looking for original content. I do look for that. But if your story has previously been in print, and there's no other adaptation of it, then I'll certainly consider that as well. But right now I'm after anything that I find to be entertaining. My own niches include like mystery type stuff, a few inspirational things, stories that have that gotcha moment, not a whole lot of romance or any of that stuff, because I'm trying to thrill people, in a different type of way. So
high octane.
Right, exactly. I don't know about too many comedies either, but the submission process, I think you have my email address, table of content 218 at gmail.com. Just take a look, send your story there. If it's something that I enjoy, chances are it's something that somebody else will enjoy too. And I'll be in contact with you to talk about the particulars of everything. Usually it takes about maybe 3 weeks, depending on how long, what else I have in the backlog to do, but not a very long process at all. And I tend to, as things are created, like as the thumbnail is created, as we have voiceovers and things, I tend to share that with the authors to see how they feel about it before anything is just thrown up on the channel. So, yeah.
Dope. And people, please know that you don't get all of that when you submit your work to people. In a lot of instances, by the time they come back to you, if there wasn't some need for some contractual whatever, they've already figured out how they're going to present your work, and you don't really have as much say so, or there's a lot of pushback, what have you. So please note that this man is doing you huge justice of taking you along the process and confirming that it's going to be what you feel is the best representation of the work, while also matching the quality of what's going on this channel. Because man, you had me thinking honestly about was it called The Gambler or something? Gambling
at Game's End.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna tell it. Not a thriller, not a mystery, but I was all in it. It was very much that story of, I got to stick with this until I figure out what happens,
Right.
kind of deal. And there were some things that I felt with it were logical, especially when you think about the ending, but also not predictable, which is very tricky. Offhand, do you remember the author who did that one?
That was me.
That was you. Okay, see, that's what I'm saying. I watched so many of them, so I was like, I'm hesitant to say the names of the ones that I'm not sure of. But okay, yeah, no, that was, woo. Okay, see, boom.
Game's End actually existed shortly before Graffiti Park did. So yeah, and it was one that I was really excited to do, and I have to thank you as well. The feedback that you gave me for that. I'm kind of off subject now, but a lot of times, when you never can tell somebody how to interpret your work, you know what I'm saying? But your interpretation of it was spot on. I really, really did appreciate that. So you got it the way I hoped people would. The ending of it, we don't have to give anything away, because I want you to go either read the story or go.
We need them views, folks.
Exactly. So you actually, your interpretation was what I had in mind. So I truly, truly did appreciate that. I really did. I'm like, oh yeah, it made the whole thing worth it. Like, somebody gets it. I had other people who didn't quite understand, But
you had views.
yeah.
They were still there for the channel, regardless, but no, you're very welcome. And actually, it reminds me too, something I got to go back and do because I don't think I did. But folks, don't just go watch, subscribe, hit the like button. If you have the mind, leave a comment, share the video. And especially if you're loving the content, hit that notification bell so that every time something pops up, I put it out there. I don't have my notifications on my phone for the most part. I have my text messages and my calls and my emails. But every time I hit that YouTube, all my subscriptions that did anything light up. But if you do have, all the notifications, every time he does something and something drops on there, you're going to be first in line and get it. But yeah, and it's a very small thing. I put that out there as well. It's a very small thing. We're not asking for money in this case. We're not asking for a whole lot of effort. Every little bit, every one of those actions individually and collectively goes a long, long way to supporting all of us that are, putting our work out there, be it YouTube, social media, what have you. Any interaction you have, for those who don't know how this works, especially some of those that are about my age and older, any interaction you have makes the possibility of another person encountering the work that much higher. So please like, please share, please subscribe, please leave a comment, please hit the notification bell. And trust me, this is definitely something that is definitely worth the time, and you'll be very happy that you did show your support. So let's see. Okay. So another great question, the one I love. For the benefit of those, no, we actually talked about that. Sorry. We're moving to this one. It goes without saying that our association has been invaluable to me personally and professionally. We've talked about that through the whole interview, as well as the other contributors to From a Black Perspective. You guys will see some more promo about that. But our readers.
Frail man resting in an otherwise dark, somber space. I miss Geraldine. A thank you note written by someone who had purchased the house. Could this be Geraldine? A Google search on the computer in her office revealed a picture of Geraldine. Mr. Thomas, if you're up to it, I'll take you to see Geraldine. Wide eyes and a beaming smile contrasted his usual sadness. I bought this house 51 years ago, he said. He wiped his face with a handkerchief. Everything happened so fast after I got sick, and I never had a chance to say goodbye to this place that is so much a part of me. Thank you.
It goes without saying that our association has been invaluable to me personally and professionally. We've talked about that through the whole interview, as well as the other contributors to From a Black Perspective. You guys will see some more promo about that. But our readers, our viewers, our followers, but I said it anyway. It goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Name a few artists and authors or artists in general that you would love to work with going forward.
Well, speaking of From a Black Perspective, since I do have a YouTube channel, I encourage any author from the anthology series to hit me up if they are interested in having their stories turned into YouTube videos. I extend that invitation to them. So my fellow authors, my fellow creators, it was such an honor to work with Rainbow Room Publishing and with each one of the authors throughout the entire series. It was one of the greatest things, one of the greatest experiences that I've had as a writer. So I open it up to all of them.
Awesome. And to be honest, I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it now. If not for working with you all in those seasons, Eddie wouldn't have been writing anything. Right. It was because I had to, and I said it in my head, much like you said about the channel. I didn't want it to be all about me, but I would say God, I was like, it was in the back of my head. People will crucify me if I don't put something in each book. And it was an awesome opportunity to go back and look at some things and find new value in some things, but I wouldn't have had an outlet necessarily to put them out without, what I was doing with you all. And I mean, when I tell you there was just so much in terms of the learning, there was so many benefits that I tried to design into that experience. And one of them being that collaboration and that networking amongst us. And of course, the idea of trying to be a platform, emotionally, financially, practically, whatever for each of you. But the idea that, and I've seen it, you're maybe the second, third person in the last couple of months that's kind of suggested the idea of doing something with one of the other authors. And it's the gift that keeps on giving, brother.
Oh yeah.
So the idea that, you struck out and made your vehicle and you got it rolling and you're telling everybody, starting at home first, with the invitation. That's, man, like I said, that's that Christian love and that Sigma love all over the place. I love it. It's the service. It's the service.
There you go.
We talked about, the impact you've had on my career, and curious to know what nuggets of wisdom do you have for any other aspiring or just artists and authors in general?
I would say just be yourself. I kind of talked about this a little bit earlier when I talked about a strange loop. Just be yourself in your art. You know what I'm saying? You can have your inspirations, have your ideas and things of kind of what you want to do when you're emulating others, but don't forget about, it's important to just be who you are. Just first, they say you're supposed to write for this audience, write for that audience. First, write for yourself. And if it's something that you will enjoy, chances are I'm sure others will too. So just be yourself. Don't be afraid to say it this way versus saying it that way. You'll have editors that you disagree with. I have certainly encountered that. I'm not gonna get into that, but I have dealt with that quite a bit. So, but it's your art. It's your interpretation. Just be yourself. And if you have this thing in you that you feel is God-given, then I have a belief that it will work out for you.
Awesome. You spoke to a lot of stuff that I would love to give a follow-up to, but that main thing of being yourself, and it actually recalls to me advice I get and that I put into practice, especially with any video production. If it don't pop for me, if I'm not excited about it, if I look at it and I'm just like, this is kind of good,
Right.
It ain't ready to go out. And I don't care what timetable I'm on, whatever. Just save it, put it to the side. Sometimes that 5 minutes that I leave it alone, or when I go run an errand. That's time where me and God will kind of filter through, okay, this is all you really need to do is go back and speed up the video a little bit and boom, it's perfect. But the idea that, if you love it, the chances are much better that someone else will love it. And I honestly feel along with that if you love it, you have that much more of a vested interest in making it great, putting it out there, bypassing the naysayers, making whatever compromises you may or may not make with the editors, what have you. Yeah, dazzle yourself first. And then somewhere in there, sometimes too, you will find that, okay, it's time to come back and edit, a few things to make it something that if you're going to use it for a commercial purpose. Kind of thing. Reminds me of other piece of advice, and it's supposed to be your advice, but I'll put it out there. But I was also taught too that, the things that we're scared to write about are the things that we should write about. But also keep in mind that doesn't mean it's for public consumption. It goes back to what you said. You're writing for yourself first. Now, if it finds a purpose, for others or for the wide market, then yeah, by all means, go for it. But awesome advice. So, we've discussed the literary efforts and the inspirational and just the impactful work that you're doing with Curious Story content. I love how that rolled off my tongue. What else can we expect from Ken Compton? Any other upcoming publications, productions? Because now my boy is a producer. Boom. Any appearances? What can we look forward to?
You can expect more YouTube interpretations or adaptations. I'm still cranking away at that Graffiti Park book. So thank you all for being patient with me as I navigate this thing. As James Patterson would say, writing is a daunting thing. but you have to be patient with
Yeah.
yourself. I mean, like I said, there's all kind of stories out there from people who blew up from just one book, and that's all they ever wrote.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. So look for the book, more YouTube. So yeah, that's what's coming. So by the grace
All
of God.
right. All
And my
right.
pen.
Go ahead. What you say?
And my pen.
Oh, all right. All right. I love it. But yeah, no, folks, I mean, one of the things with all of this I'm constantly learning too is we have to teach people how to support us. So the man told you right there, he told you his offerings. We got the scroll and marquee across the bottom. We're going to have the clickable links in the comments and in the video descriptions. Get over to that YouTube channel. The man is still selling copies of the from a Black perspective anthology series. Beautiful thing. You did it awesome. Very simple thing. But I was saying it in the last interview. The simple thing is usually the smart thing. You go to the man's YouTube channel and you look under the description of the channel. Boom, 3 links. First book, second book, third book. The blood, the people, and the homeland.
There it is.
The more that you're supporting him with the purchase of the books and the likes and everything with the YouTube channel, the more he can produce the great art that you come to know and love, and the things that are teaching you, inspiring you, and yes, entertaining you. So we gave you the list. No excuses. Reach out. You got the contact info, go across the bottom. Finally, just because some people are more auditory than visual, because we got it going across the bottom. And we respect your privacy. We're not just going to be I have his number. I ain't just putting it out there. I have his email. I ain't just putting it out there. But what are the best ways for people to contact you, to show their support, to ask questions, just to even show love for what you're doing?
Just that email link there, table of content 218 at gmail.com. It is an email address that I do check every day. So if anyone wants to reach out to me on a literary perspective, feel free to use that to contact me.
All right. So folks, there you have it from the man himself. I'm very big on how these conversations could get a little long, because I'm the fanboy. It's the reason that I reach out to the people I reach out to. And please know too, people, it's not just that these were the only ones I wanted to talk to. I think it was divine order that nobody else replied, because I couldn't get more than 3 done this year. We got 2 done last year, 3 this year. We building. But, I am very big on not keeping y'all long so y'all can get back to doing the amazing work that you're doing. But before we sign off, I will just ask, you've given the advice already. Any, just final words that you want to leave for the viewers, the readers, the fans?
I just want to say thanks everybody for your support. Whether you are new to the anthology series that I was a part of, if you're someone who's planning to check out the stories on YouTube, I do thank you. And as Eddie mentioned, every little thing is a way to show support, whether you're clicking the like, whether you're watching the entire video, leaving a comment. Every little thing helps as far as your support, and it is something that I do not take for granted. It's something that I really do appreciate. And Eddie, I'd like to thank you personally for you have certainly made a difference in my life as far as my writing journey. We give ourselves all these kudos and everything, but you inspire me just as much as I inspire you. And I still say your writing is on another level, and I love what I'm trying to get to. So yeah.
That's what I said. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you so much, and to everybody. So.
I mean, people, I said it, iron sharpens iron, and we're not in competition. We rarely have to give each other critical feedback. We usually look up and see something, we like it, and we go in on how we like it. But, it's something to be said about the company that you keep. And I said it before that I feel that you write circles around me when I look at your word choices, the phrasing, Man, so we gonna keep going, we gonna keep going better, and one day we gonna be celebrating that New York Times.
Yeah.
Honestly, it wasn't ever a goal of mine. If it happens, and it wouldn't be bad if it happens because of my association with you.
Hey,
We gonna get that, brother, and we gonna bring as many people as we can. So I'm going to ask you to stick around with me real quick in the green room, and I'll give the folks our sign off.
Thank you.
All right. So there you have it, folks. Not bad for a sequel, right? Number 2 of the interviews that we have going on for the summer reading list of 2025. Of course, it was just an immense pleasure to be spotlighting someone that I've known forever, that I sincerely consider a brother, all of this even aside. And someone that is legitimately doing some amazing work that I really think that you should check out. Only other thing that I wanted to add when it comes to the idea to support, we talked about the likes and the comments and things like that. And I'm sure I can speak for any author, honestly, that we love when you get into the posts and you leave those comments. If you wouldn't mind, copy and paste that bad boy. Drop it on Amazon.com, drop it in Barnes and Noble, put it in the places the industry will see. Even if, I look a lot of times about the idea, I know, I'm independent. So I understand that our money be funny and not oftentimes. And so I'm always trying to even remind people and then practice myself, these other multitudes of ways that we can support these worthy authors. So yeah, please consider doing all of that. Of course, they say cash is king. I say Christ is king. We'll take the dollars. But if you aren't able, or when you aren't able to do so, share the post, like the post, even if you only hear a little bit about the story in, something like what we did with From a Black Perspective, where we all did individual readings, and you feel that that's enough to write a comment and drop it, within the bookstores' websites, please do that. Suggest us to your libraries, suggest us to your favorite bookstores. Like I said, every little bit helps, and you're helping a great cause that will ultimately only feed back into you. So before I get long-winded, like the Baptist practice and tradition I came up in, I'm gonna get up out of here and let you all go to find these books and watch that YouTube channel. All right, so this is Eddie Pierce giving you guys infinite love, peace, and blessings. I got it right that time, didn't I?
The phone rang. Hey, Chief. A rape and assault about 3 hours ago. And thought about Graffiti Park. The portraits from which the park earned its name was ever-changing. Steve approached the tunnel of Forest Station, where 12-foot-tall bushes stood alongside trees. Silver hair rippled from under a black skull cap. Her skin was ghostly white and cracked like chirp paint. My, Stephen. Thunder roared and lightning struck the mural. The place of persecution had been the place of salvation, or at least the beginning of it.
Available now, From a Black Perspective, The Blood. Words dance on the page and off. They tap and tumble, they slide and glide. They bop and break, they pop and lock. That's the kind of visual joy I experience reading From a Black Perspective, The Blood. Eddie S. Pierce has assembled an eclectic, inventive posse of wordsmiths for a collection that may be slender in volume but bountiful in pleasure. From the foreword written by James Earl Hardy, New York Times and Amazon best-selling author of the Evil Blues series. From a Black Perspective, The Blood, available now from any of our featured authors. The Homeland, featuring Senya Haynes, Owen Patterson, Ken Compton, Naomi Rivers, Eros de Artiste, Dr. Tamara Hill, and Eddie S. Pierce. Available now from any of our featured authors. Homecoming by Tony Lavelle. Rainbow Room Publishing proudly presents the Summer Reading List of 2025, including author and podcast host Wyatt O'Brien Evans, author and YouTube visual storyteller Ken Compton, and New York Times and Amazon best-selling author, playwright, and film producer Mr. James L. Hardy. But we want to hear from you. Send us your questions and receive a free copy of any of the featured titles below. Offer good while supplies last. Rainbow Room Publishing. We don't just sell you a book, we give you an experience.